Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leha, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
Back at you and Gloves Off, and I got a great guest, a great pillar here in our community, and she was a wonderful judge, and it's very special because today's our 800th episode.
Ooh.
So we've been here for a while, but we got Judge Rosie Cuellar with us. How we doing?
Doing great. You know, those numbers you just said, 800, you know, as you know, I'm running for State Rep District 80. So I think this is a good sign, and so
it's an omen. All right.
I really believe it.
Good, awesome. You know, we've seen what you've done in the past, and we've seen you've always been around in the community. But why would you want to run, and what's there? You say, you know what, this is why I'm running. The why.
Well, you know, I've been involved in community service for over 40 years in many capacities, from starting when my children were young, PTA volunteer, secretary, eventually I was a PTC president, Matias Diano. I've been involved in Head Start. I was a Head Start student. I was also in the Head Start Policy Council, Boys Club, the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. You know, it's all about children, and that's one of the issues that I truly believe in: education, early education, and of course, you know, education. I've been a product of local schools, a product of our colleges here, and of course I went out of town for law school. So education is certainly very key. And a lot of people, you know, had a truly humbled by the experience as a judge and of course as a tax assessor. So I feel that I have that well-rounded experience, the way I grew up, you know, from humble beginnings and to what I've attained because of education. I feel that now as a state rep, God willing, with the support of the district, we can make a lot of changes. You know, there's a lot of things that certainly that are happening at the state level, and it seems like, okay, well, maybe we're outnumbered or how it seems, but you know, we can't give up that good fight, and I think that's why we can make that change in those laws and what affects us on a daily basis.
You know, you said a key point, and that is with education, and I've seen education, of course. You know, we've spun around in a different format of education, more physical education, but it's a different type of education. And it's an education that kind of teaches others not only self-esteem, self-confidence, and everything else. It's a discipline that goes on for that. But which was what you see here. You know, we've been doing it for 30 years plus. This school's been here since '88, and in the past couple of months, I've gotten more involved with the actual education and what's going on with our schools. I witnessed something that was kind of horrific, and I saw that, and I said, you know what, if they're doing this to one child, are they doing it to all of them? Then I found out there's something called a school-to-prison pipeline district, and we have them a lot. It wasn't something that was meant to be, it was something that became of. They started adopting policies and issues and stuff, and I think that there's a lot of stuff in there for education and the purpose of education, because you know, everybody's a teen, everybody does a mistake over again, starts over, but there's a lot of things there that for any infraction, they're no longer doing administrative discipline, they're doing more punitive discipline, and now the child is finding themselves in other states as early as first grade, they're already in the juvenile system. So it's very hard to get them out, and when you start seeing this, it's kind of hard to kind of, where is it going, how's it going, who's doing what, and I think here in Laredo we have it's become that, and I think the only people that can change it are the people that are in legislation like yourself, and I think those are the only ones that can see something in there, and for the benefit of education, for the benefit of a youth, that can actually make laws that are going to stop that from going in. And something that I saw that was very hindering, as you know, you're a judge and a doctor of jurisprudence, is that when you're a minor and you commit a crime and you become an adult, those records are kind of sealed.
Mm-hmm.
But not in the education department. If they ask for the transcripts, they're going to put in there that you went to alternative school, that you were arrested, that you were to juvenile. So over here it's sealed, and all of a sudden now, this young lad that committed something now went to the army, was going to college, and they tell him, oh, well, we're not going to accept you because of look at your transcripts.
You know, and that is unfortunate, because we're labeling, and you know, when, like you said, when I was a judge, and I, you know, I would tell them, you know, everyone makes mistakes, because we certainly do, you know, and certainly
Sure.
children do too. And I tell them, you know, it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is right now, or that's just the feeling or the culture that people think that once, for example, I would get students that, or children that would be like, for theft, right? They're like, and I told them, you know what's gonna happen? Something else is gonna be missing, and they're gonna look at who?
Yeah.
They're gonna think that you're the one that did it, even though you didn't do it, but you're gonna be labeled. But I said, well, how do we overcome that? Well, first of all, you overcome it by never doing it again, but that's what people are gonna do, and it's not fair. It's not fair to them, especially in the situation that you're saying, that we can't label these children. But how do we stop it? How do we prevent it? You know, there's a lot of character education that I think is truly important. You know, I know that things start at home, but sometimes, you know, they don't have that support, and the schools have to aid in that, and that's why we do have some really wonderful teachers who not only teaching them how to read and write, you know, but they're counselors, you know, they're parents, they try so hard, and I think that's why it's so important that they do get that pay increase. But you're right, this is the only way that we can stop it, and we have to try to make that difference so they don't go straight to that and be labeled that forever.
Absolutely. And you know, you see, you might see a problem within a community, and the community starts up, and you start seeing that, but you have to start working on solutions. Okay, it's a policy. Is it a policy or is it a law?
Right.
If it's a policy, let's start working here. But maybe we have to change the law as well. So we need compassionate individuals that are going to be inside the office, and we need people that not only are they going to be elected into office that care about that continuation, you know, because there's people that get elected that once they get elected, they forget about everybody else. You know, you want to do something, you want to continue that path, you know.
Absolutely, and you're right when you said that. You know, that was part of my platform, and it still is. You know, you have to, especially as a judge, you have to be compassionate, but firm. You know, you have to still understand that they're young, and actually, you know, the child's brain is not fully developed until what? They're 26.
25, 26. No, they're saying that.
So
yeah,
imagine they make mistakes, and you. I mean, it's just a fact, you know. They're more impulsive, and for whatever factors, you know, they make these decisions that affect them for the rest of their lives, but we do have to do our best to prevent But if they do, what do we do to rectify this? And you're right, is it a policy? And that's why it's so important that we have board members and superintendents, that they have that capability to make those decisions, not necessarily just a state law, but that would, of course, help. But they have to have that leeway to know what is needed in their own communities.
Absolutely, and you see, sometimes I think that's what we've lost. We've lost that common sense, that type of creativity of those leaders that are there and say, you know what, this is bad. We're going to do it this way, and we're going to have a lot more positive result. And everybody, no, this is the way everybody else is doing it. We have to go, no, but this is how we're going to take it. And the ones that are usually not step out of line, but step out of that box, start thinking out of the box, are the ones that are actually producing and creating. And that's where you start getting those fabulous leaders that you're going there, because they start seeing problems that can arise in the future and start changing them now.
Yeah, and you have to be the type that to say, you know, well, this is what we've done, it's worked, but let's look elsewhere to see what works in other school districts, maybe in even other countries. We have to, a good leader has to know that we learn from other people, that have been positive results.
Absolutely, and you have to take that and care for that and enhance on that. Here's a question that I've always asked. That I've always wondered, you know, as you being a judge, and you were in there for a good while, you know, and what was the major things that you saw? Was it, of course, ticket record in municipal court, but what were the major things in the community that you saw over and over, that was repeated, that you'd like to say, you know what, we might need some help?
Well, I was there for 8 years, of course, from 2010 and then till 2018. Of course, you know, it dealt with traffic violations, moving violations, speeding, of course, accidents, but also no insurance registration. So it was a cycle of these things when it came to the insurance and no driver's license. If they don't have a license, well, they can't get insurance. If they don't make good money, you can't get the insurance. Well, how can you get a better paying job if you have a license? But if you can't get your license, so it was a cycle. So what I did, I started the amnesty program.
Okay.
You know, there was a little back push. Why are you doing that? Why are you giving these people a break for these tickets when they owe it? But when it was really a case by case situation, and you looked at their tickets, you looked at how old those tickets were. So it was truly a case by case. So it gave these individuals an opportunity to take care of their debt and get their license. You know, that was the reason for them. This is why I did it, so we could help them, because it was just going to continue on and on and on, and they were going to be racking up more tickets, more. It was never going to stop.
Never going to stop. How would you take that into the state level? What do you think would need to change to? It's kind of hard, you know, because you might get right now, especially after the pandemic, people have lost jobs, businesses are no longer, and it's an ever-ending thing, you know, and we see it with a lot of individuals, a lot of parents that, well, we can't come back anymore because, you know, I don't have a job.
Right.
And,
Well, there's
you know,
also, you know, the opportunity for them to do community service if you can't pay. They would have to fill out an application, look at how much they make, and see if they qualify for a payment plan, or if they qualify for community service. And now that you mentioned that, something that I was very proud of is when we had our students, well, a lot of people, right, but I was trying to focus on our young people. So I had a community outreach which lasted for around 5 years, where I would have different individuals from the community, and we would have it once a month. So it instead of the parents have to pay for it, or if they weren't working or they couldn't pay for it themselves, they would attend that class and they would get credit in terms of hours. But it was really wonderful because it was a wonderful collaboration with the private sector, and then of course other entities. We had an individual who would speak about the consequences of driving drunk, and their loved one was killed by a drunk driver. We had, let's say, Laredo PD talk about, what they saw on a daily basis. We had individuals, counselors, who would talk about the effects of bullying and what that does to a child. We had individuals that came who were like private attorneys that would talk about what does this do to your record. So we always had a wonderful group of individuals who would come once a month and talk to our children, and I did that for about almost 5 years. So we touched over 5,000 children. So I hope we made that difference in the life of one, at least.
Made a change in the future because, they're now 5 years ago. I mean, now let's say they were 15, now they're in their 20s, most of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm really curious that, I always had a great memory that I would remember who would come back again, and I didn't see the same children. Yeah, they knew. But I want to say that, I was so proud of that. We worked with our staff who were so excited to be part of a program, and they were, yes, we'd like to help. And then, of course, all these individuals. It was a group effort, and we were recognized by the state. We were, in the terms of the individuals that we had before the court, we were considered high volume, and it was the first time in the history of Laredo until this day that we got recognized by the Texas Municipal League for safe driving initiative.
Absolutely. And did you see the same people that you would see as in the municipal judge, like in the court, that with no insurance, no this, no that? Would you see the same people as being a tax assessor? They couldn't pay for their inspection, they couldn't get all that stuff, or no?
No. But I know that there's there were some programs that you could do that where, like, well, if you didn't finish paying all your tickets, then you're not going to be able to get this. So, I mean, that's an individual that, a tax assessor can decide to yes, I'm going to be part of that program, or no, I'm not. But I did see, different aspects of that, but wonderful experience.
When let's say voters come out and say, you know what, you'll be blessed with that next November, because it's going to be, you'll be running in the Democratic part, right? But then I presume there's probably going to be some from Republicans, so then it's going to go into November. The demographic is pretty wild, because you have all the way up to Uvalde and then all the way down to where?
It's Webb County,
Yeah.
which includes part of South Laredo, Rio Bravo, and Cenizo. It includes Frio, Dimmitt, Zavala, Uvalde, and Atascosa. So it's six counties.
The full of Atascosa part.
The full of Atascosa. It's only Webb that's part of it.
That's interesting. That's a big chunk.
Well, that's a big chunk, but it's really Republican. So the stronghold is Atascosa for Republicans, and the stronghold for Democrats is Webb County.
And everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it's God bless everybody and go forward.
Yes, I mean, it's something.
It's around the corner, yeah. No, but you're already there. But the elections is in March.
That's correct. There's of course our primary for the Democrats, and the Republicans have their primary, and like you said, God willing, we'll be there and in March, and then look forward to November. But it's like I always say, we gotta go for it. Only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. So
absolutely, and you have to be able to understand that sometimes you lose, sometimes you go forward, and sometimes you're trying, and by trying more, you're getting better.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of people that don't understand that. They go, oh, I can't do that, I'm a fucking boy. No, you have to put in there. It's that dedication, it's that discipline that's behind it.
Absolutely.
It's that force behind you.
It's funny because someone had asked me this question. They asked me, well, when did you start into politics? Well, I started when I was 18, so it's been 40 years, so now you know how old I am. So it's been 40 years, and I started when Henry started running for state rep, and they're like,
I remember.
"Oh, so now you're running for state rep, isn't it?" Like,
A big circle.
yeah.
You know, I remember that back then because I remember he was running for state rep and they did my father and then everybody was behind him and I was in college at the time. And I remember then he went from state rep to secretary of state and of course congressman. He's done a great job. And
Yes.
you know he continues to do that. You know, at least it's somebody that's been bringing down stuff for Laredo.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we need. We need people that understand the commitment that we have here in Laredo, and not only Laredo, the other areas because it's help
It's
out
a
throughout.
Big
And
district.
you know, and I understand the rationale between Republicans and this. I see on both sides. And when it comes down to it, and you're in there, you have to step across the aisle and say, let's get this done.
Absolutely.
And if you can't do that, you shouldn't even be running.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't be up there and say, oh, I'm going to stick to my horse on this side. No, sometimes you have to go over there and say, you know what? They might have a good idea. Let's get it done.
That's exactly right. You have to listen to both sides. And how can you get along with people if you don't listen or hear them out?
Absolutely. And, you know, I keep telling people this, and our flag is both red and blue and has white in the middle.
Mhm.
And that's just the way it is.
Yes.
And both of them make that great flag. And sometimes that you can't say, oh, that person doesn't like America because of this, or he doesn't like this because he's a Republican, or he doesn't like that because he's a Democrat. That's the most stupid, idiotic thing that I've ever heard, because both of them love the country the same way. It's
Yes.
just both of them want to see it in a different format. And it's like gardening. Maybe your wife wants roses and you want cactuses, and sometimes guess what? Both are going to have it in the same garden.
Yeah.
You know, and people say, well, you know, that it has to be a compromise.
Well, there has to be a compromise, but there also has to be respect. You know, it really is about respecting everyone and delivering your ideas. You know, you can't be bullying or threatening or demeaning. You know, I don't agree with you, and I think bleep 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 bleep. You know, it's if we're like that as adults, what are we teaching our children?
Absolutely.
How do we expect them to get along and share that toy, or see that they're different, or for whatever reason?
Well, yeah, and you're correct, you know, and you see that, and that's something that people do not understand. You have to understand how to compromise. You have to understand how to look at the other person's views and say, wait a minute, well, he does have a good idea, and if you mix these two together, it's going to make a better idea. So
Absolutely.
let's bring them together and move forward. And I think that's what needs to happen now. Not
I
only to
think so.
Texas, to the U.S.
The
you know?
whole, absolutely.
And right now we are in a very, very bad place in our time as a country, and I think now we need good leaders to start saying, you know what, I need to save my community. I need to get these people done, and I need to get. And it's a big handle. It's a big job, and you need people that are going to have that internal forte that they're gonna say, you know what, I can handle that. Not everybody can.
That's right.
Because you just said you have foot at Atacosa, La Salle, Zavala,
Dimmitt.
Webb, and Dimmitt, and
Frio.
Uvalde, and
Yeah.
Frio. That's
Yeah.
7 counties more
We
or
got
less. no?
six.
Six?
Yeah.
Which one are you missing? Dimmitt? Do you
Yeah,
have Dimmitt?
I think so. Dimmitt, Frio, Zavala, Uvalde, Atascosa, and Webb.
And Webb. Okay, 6.
We used to
You
have
don't-
Zapata, but not anymore.
And you don't have La Salle.
No.
Okay, so it kind of bounces around La Salle.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. No, listen.
And so I mean, it's still 6 counties, and those 6 counties all have needs, and all
That's
6
right.
counties they might not. Each one of them has its own ways and own little particularities, and each one of them has its own ways of doing things, and you have to compromise with everybody that's in
Right.
there and understand how they all work.
But I think, the common, that I think we all have as humans is we want to make sure kids are educated. We want to make sure that there's jobs for them, for us. I think we have, that we're safe, that we're in a safe community, but how do we achieve what is their needs in particular. But I think we all have the common goal.
Absolutely, and we need common sense law. That's it. Common sense laws. We need things that have to be passed in there, not because of just spite, but is it in good for everybody?
That's right. That's right. And it's sometimes difficult, and like you said, you wanna, yes, you wanna side with your party because that's the party you believe in, but you have to be open to, like, well, let me hear you out. Let's compromise, and that's what. And of course, having that demeanor, and that was something wonderful as a judge and being at the tax office. You deal with the public all the time. They say things that you're like, why did they say it like that? But you have to keep your composure, and it's about respect. You have to understand that they're frustrated, that they're upset, so you try to, bring them back down to, what, I understand why you're upset, and I would be upset too, but please listen to me, why this is the way this is, and I'll show it to you in black and white, but maybe we can do this, but it's going to take a little while, but it's just about being patient and understanding and not losing it, and I'm like, I understand, maybe you're having a bad day, and I get it, but it's not going to be productive, so let's just take a little deep breath and let's try to figure this out.
Absolutely. And that's what's needed. We need people that have that compassion.
That compassion and that composure, but the character and the experience and to be able to say, what, I don't know everything, but I'm gonna ask the expert on this. You do have a pretty good idea, but you still have to reach out to the ones that know whatever the subject may be.
Absolutely. And well, you've already started. I guess what else is now? Just to get this done.
Yes, we've been very fortunate. We've been working it and talking to the individuals, and of course, in our county and the other county as well, and it's about getting our message and hoping that they see that I have the experience, the diverse experience, not only personal but professional, and that I also have the commitment to communities, and I have the proven leadership and the results to show that I will be the one that will be most effective in this position.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, folks, coming up near future, we're going to have you as being a candidate. So please say hi to her when you see her up there, and share and like and everything else. Ask questions because she is a personable person. So understand that. And the other thing that I would like to comment and say is this race is not until March.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't registered and you're going to go vote, do so.
Then I asked them to vote in November for the propositions, and asked them to study each one. It's very important.
Which propositions are coming up, Paige?
Well, there's 14, but the ones that I guess are most important to all of us is, of course, the on property taxes, which is truly important to give us that exemption from 40,000 to 100,000, and of course the businesses also have tax relief as well, which is truly important. And also the proposition for teachers or retired teachers that will adjust their cost of living. They haven't had a raise in almost 20 years, and they haven't,
I've seen that, and I've seen that, and I've seen their frustration. We just spoke with the union a couple of weeks ago, and people can look at it's there, and we need to start paying our teachers to teach. We need to start making them teachers again. Their frustration is everything's all about a test. Maybe we have to do away with the test. I don't know, but we have to start getting our teachers to teach again.
yes.
We have to pay them to teach. And I understand the salaries of the administrators, and I get all that. I understand that. But maybe we have to lower it and start making it a balance, because they're the ones actually doing something with their children.
Since I was a volunteer there for many years, You know, you would always see teachers pay out of pocket because they wanted to make sure that all their children, you know, had the supplies that they needed. And it's because they have such a big heart. They went above and beyond. They wanted to make sure that everything was perfect and that child have the opportunity to participate in whatever it was. And I think they certainly do deserve that and much more.
Absolutely. And you see sometimes when you get a teacher that has so much passion, all of a sudden that passion just burns out. They get burned out.
Mm-hmm.
You see it automatically.
Yeah.
And then they're still teaching, and you start seeing the decline. And we have to give them that motivation. And if they're doing a job, keep moving it forward.
Absolutely, I agree.
Well, we'll wish you luck, and we'll wish you back here again, and we'll have you back here and let us know how the campaign's going.
Yes, I'm excited. Yes.
All righty.
Thank you.
Judge,
I
thank you for
appreciate
coming
it.
in.
I thank you so much.
And folks out there, do you have a page?
Yes, I do, but I'll my Facebook page, Rosie Cuellar for State Rep 80, and I'll have all my other information on there.
Alrighty, so if you all need to get a hold of the judge as a candidate, you can look her up on Facebook.
Or just under Rosie Cuellar.
Until next time, you all stay safe.
Right,
God
thank
bless.
you. God bless.